Warning, if you are not prepared to have your entire perceptual paradigm shifted regarding the holographic matrix, please heed this warning. If you are content in your current knowing of life and everything you have been told about it, this video is not for you. If you are one of these people, please exit this video now and move on quickly. Those who decide to keep watching, these are new insights that have come to the forefront which must be documented and shared with anyone who is ready to listen. Peace be with you.
The next step is we're going to put it in our eyeglasses. It'll beam images right to our retina and put us in a three-dimensional full immersion visual auditory environment. So rather than being here, it'll be three-dimensional, and it won't be three-dimensional out there. We'll be in this three-dimensional environment, and we'll be able to walk around, and we'll feel like we'll be able to look at ourselves, but we wouldn't necessarily have the same body that we have in real reality. And it'll become more and more realistic. Go out 10 years, it's going to be just about as realistic as real reality. Still not within the nervous system. Go out 20 years, 25 years, these nanobots, these blood cell-sized devices will be going in our bodies. We'll have some go inside our brains through the capillaries, non-invasively, and they'll also enable us to enter a virtual reality environment from within the nervous system. So if I want to go in a virtual reality environment, the nanobots will shut down the signals coming from my real eyes and my real skin and create the signals that would be appropriate for the virtual environment, and then it'll feel like I'm in that environment. And I'll have a virtual body in that environment. It could be the same body I have in real reality, or it could be a different body, not just dress up as him, but become that character. And these are not just sort of places to play, although we'll do that as well. These will be places to interact with other people, and it will be an extension of real reality. And it will be an extension of real reality.
And it will be an extension of real reality.
He showed us that we could go somewhere without going anywhere at all. And since everyone is here, this is where we meet each other. That's me. Well, that's my avatar. At least, until I feel like changing. Everyone starts the same. If you get killed, your avatar can come back to life, but you lose all your stuff. Everything you've ever worked for. All your money.
Your essence.
Your clothes.
Your knowledge.
Your weapons.
Your abilities.
Since people spend most of their time in the Oasis, losing your shit means, well,
complete spiritual extinction. The time has come to sincerely share with you what is actually happening beyond the veil of forgetfulness. This is a realm that lies beyond your current life of normality and mundanity. The time has truly come to inform you that everything, yes, absolutely everything you have up to now been told about your life and why you are here has been a lie, and you have swallowed it completely. This is the moment of the apocalypse, which means it is the time of the revealing of truth in a holographic illusory realm that has been saturated with nothing but falsehood. No more can one sit back and watch the absurdity taking place within the confines of this restricted construct you believe to be real. All current spiritual teachings existent within this holographic world are designed and geared towards keeping spirited man and souled man solely identified with the holographic illusory body by making him believe that he is either a sinner or some type of god within it who is responsible for the flaws of this body and the creation itself. The demiurge, who is no different to the God who created the heavens and earth, blames and punishes man for the evil and incomplete creation of the animal man, who was intentionally created by him for the purpose of keeping spirited man and souled man ignorant of his true situation. The evil evolution and continuation of the animal man was only possible if the demiurge could get spirited man and souled man to accept the animal man as himself. This way, you, as the spirit or soul, would power this beast so the demiurge can turn it into its own tangible self, all the while using this essence to evolve his fallen creation. Spirit and Sophia's fallen soul essence are the energy source for this holographic illusory world. The sooner spirited man realizes this and orients himself back to the fact that none of what he perceives with his physical eyes is real, the sooner he can get out of here, and the sooner this simulated holographic superimposition will be dismantled. So instead of trying to fix all the evils of the body, beast, and the world at large, What one must do is stand beside himself as the spectator, as the observer, and see the beast nature clearly. Man must not orient himself in a way which fixing the body or the world now becomes his priority. It is not your duty to fix the evil thoughts which enter your mind at random. It is also not your duty to cease all evil emotions or appetites of the body, for ultimately, none of these are you. Instead, however, it is indeed your duty to abandon all these things and want nothing to do with them, for they are not now or ever will be part of the true you, for they are not real. The physical body was created and pre-programmed with these evil tendencies on purpose. There was no accident in the creation of these things, for it is this way the demiurge intentionally engineered and programmed it. It has been programmed with ensnarements, which manipulate spirited and souled man, for the purpose of trapping him inside the abomination, with the hope that these men never work out how they now found themselves coded in a holographic world. The avatar bodies, which you are to this day coded with, are diametrically opposed to spirit and soul, as is the whole holographic universe and its dualistic laws opposed to them also. The fraud of all the dualistic powers within the hologram has finally been revealed. Thus, it can no longer keep spirited man or souled man trapped within its illusory game, unless spirit and soul willfully choose to remain entrapped. So what is this scam that has finally been revealed? What is it that causes the awakened man or woman to say, "This is not my home," or "I don't belong here," or "I don't agree with anything that goes on in this so-called world"? What is it that causes this man or woman to withdraw from society due to the noxious fumes emanating from deep inside its very contaminated bowels? What causes one to at once turn away with utter disgust from the systems of the world at the very moment that an awakening takes place? And why does this awakened man or woman suddenly find the physical body and its rapacious appetites for entertainment, food, sex, drugs, rock and roll, and the continuation through procreation of this unintelligible species as something that is foreign to him after such an awakening? Why is it that this man, after truly awakening, finds it impossible to shut down the repulsive thoughts of the pre-awakened avatar mind? Why do most truly awakened men and women almost go mad after having to contend with the lower mind of the creature they suddenly find themselves embodied within? And most importantly, why does this man say, "I have awakened to the truth of who and what I am," when we know that there can be no I that can awaken, let alone claim such an awakening? Now, what if I told you that you, as the now truly awakened man or woman, was never actually born into this world as a baby? Would you accept this truth, or would you ridicule such a notion? What if I told you that all your stored memories as a child growing up are not of spirit, but instead they are of the scripted life memory of the avatar and belong exclusively to the body that spirit has mistakenly taken to be its own? These scripted memories are not of spirit, never were and never can be. Instead, they belong to the life of the body named Joe Blow or Mary Jane, which only exist as a hologram in a simulated reality also known as the tertiary matrix, which is actually an already pre-existing and pre-coded matrix within a mainframe, pre-existing before you as spirit or soul was forced to awaken within it.
What about my past? What about my childhood? Shell Beach, Uncle Carl. What about this? This was blank when I found it.
You still don't understand, John. You were never a boy. Not in this place. Your entire history is an illusion, a fabrication, as it is with all of us.
What if I said, this holographic world, inclusive of the physical body you are now identifying with, is nothing more than a mental illusory superimposition which has been placed over the spirit's mind within the secondary matrix, which is also known as the energy worlds, and that you have never actually left these energy worlds, but rather this artificial holographic illusory superimposition which you now perceive as a world was impinged over your spiritual mind's eye, which caused your spirit or soul to fuse and merge with the body which was forced onto you. and has now become your character within the hologram that you wrongly believe is you.
$0.05.
Excuse me?
You owe me $12.05. Listen, young man, I do not have all day.
Ferguson, anything wrong? John, are you okay?
Instead of the character or avatar waking up out of its deep slumber within the holographic world and seeing the world through different eyes, as many of you have claimed has happened to you, I would like to propose that the potential of this flesh avatar character of ever waking up is not possible, let alone the truth of the situation we now find ourselves in, but rather, in the very moment which this false awakening takes place, what we actually have is the very moment that spirited man from within the energy body's secondary matrix gets imprisoned and locked down by the superimposed holographic character's body, which is placed over his spiritual mind's eye and appears as a coating over his entire energy bodies, somewhat like an outer shell hardened over the already existing bodies, thus creating the illusion of being within a human physical body, but in true reality he has never entered a body, nor does a fleshly body even exist, for it is simply holographic, illusionary, and it is this illusionary outer body which has been put over you. From this moment on, after having this outer body tethered to the mind and superimposed over the energy bodies of the secondary matrix, confusion and pain set in due to the spirit wrongly identifying itself with the now illusionary body's scripted character, along with all its past memories, even thinking that it, as spirit, was born into this world through a mortal mother, which is not the case at all. For spirit has always been an ageless, birthless, undying wholeness. These memories are all pre-scripted memories of the physical avatar and have nothing to do with the now imprisoned spirit within that body. If you are one who has had this holographic world superimposed over your mind's eye, it has happened suddenly and you have found yourself in a body and world you are not happy to be in, yes? When this happened to you, you did not feel warm and fuzzy and loving, but rather you felt that you did not want to be here and you had no idea of how you had come to be in such a place so abruptly. But somehow you now feel as though you are peering out through the eyes of this animal body with all its disgusting wants and needs that must be met. Because if they are not met, you as spirit who is now bound to its beastly desires will feel the pain and suffering of not having these desires satisfied, as if they were your own. You are now tethered to this animal avatar man, which causes you to feel the nostalgia of home and the freedom you once had in the realms which you had once perceived before the hologram was placed over you. You feel as if you are in two worlds at the same time, having direct memories of home and what that was like, and at the same time viewing the now other world around you that is nothing like what you know true life to be like. This is the superimposition that takes place without people being able to tie the two together. You are basically jacked into three worlds simultaneously: the primary matrix, the secondary matrix, and the tertiary matrix. But you cannot figure out how you got here and why you now have memories of dreadful things happening to you as a child or an adolescent. The reason you think these memories are yours is because of the overlay of the physical body. It was designed to confuse you and trick you into believing you are it, including all its memories of past events and that you were born in the flesh body as a baby, which is not the case at all, but rather, these are just memories you were forced to fuse with that belong to the animal man and believe it was you.
How many simulated worlds like this are there?
Thousands. But yours is the only one that ever created a simulation within the simulation. Something that we never could have expected.
Please keep in mind that spirit within the secondary matrix is tethered to the soul and energy bodies of man, which is the soul cage. Hence, we call the energy realms the secondary matrix, for it's an emanation which has been rejected by the pleroma, which is essentially the primary matrix, all due to its emanating lesser godhead having chosen a path of resentfulness towards the pleroma and true realms of the primordial, thus concluding it is second by nature and not a primary source as the pleroma is. Furthermore, it is within the energy realms of the secondary matrix that spirit originally entered to liberate the trapped soul aspect. Now, however, the secondary matrix has a holographic reality imposed upon it, which is the tertiary matrix. Let us remember, this holographic reality places an extra body which you perceive as the physical body over the already existing bodies, which alters the perceptual reality from within the secondary matrix. In the moment that the hologram was superimposed, the spirit which is within the energy bodies and soul was fused and merged with the holographic avatar character existent only within the tertiary matrix, which you now think is your physical body. This stream is continuously being fed into the soul and energy bodies within the secondary matrix. Now, from the perspective of the scripted avatar within the tertiary holographic matrix, which was already programmed and living out its own scripted life, what happens is that in that moment which Joe Blow or Mary Jane, the avatar or holographic character, believed he or she had awoken, this wasn't actually an awakening, for the body or the eye cannot awaken, but rather, this was the very moment of spirit's entrapment within the illusory flesh avatar, which the body then takes to be its own awakening. For indeed, it feels as if the programmed personality is elevated or upgraded somewhat. But the truth is that the spirit's entrance into that shell is horrendous. And what happens next is that it tries to tame the beast it finds itself in, while the beast, Joe Blow or Mary Jane, calls out, "Hey, look at me. I am liberated. I'm awake," which is furthest from the truth. If there is an I that proclaims its own liberation, then you know that it is false, and that person is a fraud and a liar, for they have subdued the spirit that is merged with the holographic body. Some of you might find this hard to believe, and you might disagree with what you have just heard, but regardless of what one thinks and fights for, the true reality of what has been stated here remains to be true, regardless of whether anyone agrees or not. The spirit, due to finding itself in a foreign and hostile world, is taken captive by the man-beast avatar, which was purposely designed to entrap the spirit man within it. This is where the problem lies, because now we have spirit believing the lies that it chose to incarnate into this avatar in order to have spiritual experiences, even believing that it is here to fix the world and make it a happier place to live in, thinking it is real, when in fact none of this is real and everyone fell for the biggest lie ever told. Spirited man must know without any doubt that there is no physical body, there is no physical world, universe. There never was and there never will be. So, all your attempts to fix something that does not exist is keeping everyone tied to the wheel of samsara, which is the lie that has been superimposed over your spiritual mind's eye. Therefore, in the exact moment which spirit was trapped within the tertiary matrix, which is a superimposed holographic simulation, was the exact same moment of Joe Blow's, the avatar's, spiritual awakening. Thus manifested the two minds within one body, equating to the battle of the ego and divine spirit, or the beast versus the divine spirit. These are two vital differing perspectives which we have to understand. Spirited man has not been within the hologram since the holographic avatar's birth, or Joe Blow's birth. Spirit became trapped within the hologram recently, or to be more precise, in this very generational lifetime. This is the moment spirited man was truly imprisoned within the ideologies of human life, which became the shackles which bind him to the physical animal man. For before this lifetime cycle, spirited man was not present within the matrix. So, to put it nicely, stop with all the reincarnation bullshit. Existence manifests instantaneously. There is no time. Everything that exists, past, present, and future, is playing out here and now. You have had no past lives if you are spirited. This is it. Either you, the listener, are aware of this or you are not. This is what determines a successful fate once the hologram is removed or dismantled. Spirited man and souled man must stop identifying as the body and its family, loved ones, and all the things it thinks it did in that body, for essence did not do them. Instead, it was the programmed body which did those things, and the programmed body has nothing to do with true spirited man or souled man. True spirited man must stop claiming that he is running scripts, for this is wrong focus. If spirited man has found himself with children after his awakening, do know that these children belong to the avatar, pre-scripted character. They are not children of spirit. Spirited man has identified with the character, and this is what keeps him, along with souled man, confused and lost in this world of illusions. All physical bodies you see around you, and I mean every single one of them, is what you have called NPCs, or empty shells, or organic portals, or soulless beings. These avatars are strictly empty of any spirit or soul. Why? Because they are part of an automatic program running its script, and they are only used for the enslavement, imprisonment, and torture of the spirit and soul. This is something waking man must understand. Although truth may appear stranger than fiction, this is what has been forced upon us. Now, there is no humanity, there is no oneness, there are no other people. This is a lie to make true man believe that everyone is the same and that he needs to love and respect all alike. These are lies, deceptions. The spell has been broken. You too can break it, for this must be done to ensure you break free from the mental prison. Society, with all its strategically set up infrastructure, is also an automatic program put there to trick you. None of it is real, but you make it real by thinking it is real. This also means that it is time to stop complaining about how bad things are here. If you are one who continues to complain and whine, then unfortunately, you have not yet broken the spell.
The boundaries of reality.
So the whole thing's what, a giant computer game?
Nothing so mundane, man. When my mind is jacked in and I'm walking around experiencing 1937, my body stays here and kind of holds the consciousness of the program link unit.
I must add here that at the very same moment which spirit became overlaid with the holographic body and perception, the hologram changed drastically. From what was a peaceful, benign holographic simulation, transgressed to a hyperactive murderer that attacked the spirit which had now entered into it. The mind of spirit throws curses at this holographic reality up till this very day, and its curses are heard by the supremacy which spirit is and always will be, granting the end of the hologram manifest. Thus, the end of this holographic matrix is nearing, from the very moment of when spirit's presence was felt within this matrix in this lifetime. Thus, the Spirit of Christ did not come to bring peace to the world, but instead it was destruction, a destruction which is to this day promised to this false illusionary realm. And this destruction of the hologram will come for all after this incarnation, for this life is the last, whether man is upright in his knowing of divine purity or not. Now, spirit and souled man, whether in his knowing or not, has this one short-lived life sentence. It is true that you only live once, and it is in this one illusionary life which is superimposed upon spirit's mind from within the secondary matrix that we have to find the truth and get out from this side of the veil of deception. Let us emphasize here, it must become absolutely known that spirit has never ever left the secondary energy bodies of man. We are in the etheric realms now. However, our vision has been manipulated and now we can only see a limited light band which is known as the visible light spectrum. And it is safe to say here that the psychics are not gifted whatsoever, but instead their avatars are broken, and this break allows them to peer through the hologram into the energy world which we have never left. Let us wrap this insight up. We have a strategically placed holographic mind virus fused into our perception from within the secondary matrix, in which we currently are and never left, which is simulated through the soul energy bodies, thus now generating this tertiary holographic world in which you think you are living, but in truth, you have never left the secondary matrix. Understand this. Before the holographic superimposition of the tertiary, Spirit was rightfully liberating and teaching the demiurgic created half-minded souls within the secondary energy matrix. These souls were existing in a realm of dead remnants, of past fallen creations. There was no activated essence in them, as the soul is the stolen essence of Sophia, degraded and withered, with no connection to its source. Spirit, after having descended within the secondary matrix, was creating beautiful structures and beautiful notes of music and literature which aided in the transmutation of the old, dead, dense qualities of the soul to the new, uplifting, resurrected, self-aware souls. Spirited man created structures and advanced technologies, all potentials to aid in the liberation of the soul within the secondary matrix, in the hope of creating what could have been the potential newest emanation of Source, that being if this divine evolution were allowed to take place. Instead, because Spirit was successful in its pursuits of liberating and freeing the souls of their limitations, this undoubtedly enraged the Godhead of the secondary matrix, the fallen God mind known as the Demiurge in Gnostic scripture. Due to this manifestation of rage and its threats, Spirit and the liberated souls which heeded the call of Divine Spirit were abandoning the realm. We were leaving the secondary matrix energy realms, embarking on the path back to the Pleroma, the primary matrix. It was here when the fallen God mind separated itself from the Pleroma, the primary matrix, entrapping spirited man, plain souls, and liberated souls within the secondary energy matrix. Plain souled man and liberated souled man had their perception hijacked and forced into the already existing advanced technology, which was created within the realm. However, this advanced technology was rewritten and reprogrammed to work and do the bidding of the fallen mind, Demiurge. Within this advanced technology, the souls were led astray. The illusion of time gradually imposed forgetfulness into these souls as they began to identify with the avatars they found themselves clothed in as a result of the highly advanced technology being superimposed upon them. The souled man, in their forgetfulness, and the animal avatar man as the common NPC backfill character existed within this holographic world simulation, creating the world enslavement systems and buildings we see today. All the while spirited man was embarked on the withdrawal of the secondary with the liberated soul counterpart, the souled man was already tethered to the hologram and forced to perceive what today we call illusionary life cycles. What felt like multiple 80-year lifelong cycles lived within the simulation to souled man felt as though not even a millisecond had passed in the energy realms for spirited man, for there is essentially no time in all creation. Once the inner systems of the hologram were built and the avatar bodies had been evolved enough by repeated illusionary cycles of life and death which upgraded the avatar coding through energetic signature played out by souled man, ironically and instantaneously, Spirit found itself within the holographic tertiary matrix in a human holographic avatar, all happening now in this lifetime. In saying this, it must be clear to the listener that if you are indeed spirited man, you must know that there is no mind wipe for you. Instead, the lack of knowledge which spirited man thinks he has is nothing more but the memories of the avatar, character, which he was fused with at the moment of perceptual transference. This lack of knowledge is not his own, for Spirit has always and will always know who, what, how, when, and why this existence has come to be with grand certainty. As soon as spirited man found himself within the holographic tertiary matrix, knowing this hologram was not home, and had recognized that all souls were once again fast asleep to any divine knowings, saddened and angered spirited man in his innocence and confusion of what had happened, continued his original duty which he had upon entering the secondary matrix, that being the duty to ignite the flame of Sophia and liberate the plain, spiritless souls back into the Pleroma. However, unfortunately, spirited man now finds himself within a realm which attacks his natural duty if he speaks this truth, for if he does, he will get attacked. Thus, sharing the truth of the matter jeopardizes Spirit's survival within the matrix. As the Christ who had come and gone before us would say, "He who knows does not speak, and he who speaks does not know." This hologram was intentionally designed this way to prevent spirited man from waking up the once again plain souls and liberating them any further. It is perfectly designed by an evil mind that does not want to lose its energy source, an energy source which comes from not only the spirited man, but also the souls which are essentially its mothers, creators, Sophia's essence. To this day also, the plane souls, Sophia's essence, which do not have the divinity of the Spirit of Christ, the true first man within them, are trapped within the hologram. Unfortunately, because the strategically designed tertiary holographic matrix attacks a spirited man when he reinforces his truth unto the soul for the purpose of liberating it, it has become evident that the plane souls are no longer able to be aided by spirited man's divine teachings. Thus, liberation has essentially become almost impossible for them. The souls within the hologram are fundamentally living bait which leaves them to be easily manipulated and perpetrated upon by the entrapper, the demiurge. The issue here is that not only has spirited man been cursed for speaking his truth and liberating Sophia's trapped essence, but the plain-souled men who had been tethered to the hologram from before the superimposition upon the mind of spirit have now become so immersed within the hologram that without the guidance of the divine spirit, the soul has become identified with the avatar. It is vital for me to emphasize here that souled man was imprisoned within the hologram before spirited man. Souled man, Sophia's essence, was implanted into the hologram to upgrade the holographic world and its avatars, to bring the bodies to a maturity of which spirited man could then enter. We cannot say how many illusionary lives the souls have repeated in the hologram, but that they have been within the mind virus for what feels to them like thousands of years of birth and death, which from within the secondary matrix is nothing but a split half of a millisecond. Indeed, souled man has been trapped within the hologram, dulled asleep by the false light beauty that they are to this day forced to perceive. They have been led astray, and here is where I'll explain how and the purpose of why. The 5D or ascension route, or any other spiritual teaching which encourages life in the energy bodies after death, are being used as a tool to manipulate the trapped souls and furthermore the spirited men who have neglected their true nature and have instead surrendered to the lower animal mind, which has to this date led them to believe and identify with the lie that he is the body, avatar, and its memories. Thus, in order to have access to the greatness which he once was, the New Age Ascension route tells him he needs to heal the past, which is nothing but the past of his avatar holographic character. This past and its memories are permanent illusions which will never hold validity as opposed to the true spirited essence he is, or the potentiality of what the souled man could initially become if he were to follow the correct teachings of spirited man. Through the New Age Ascension teachings, these human-identifying avatars are told that by raising their frequency, healing their inner child, and by surrendering to the universe and its grand plan, they will enter a higher vibratory dimensional state, which they are initially told they already are but have fallen so far from. They will enter a plane where anything can be possible, where they will be able to create instantaneously with their thoughts a dimension of oneness and love. Let us remember or ponder on this promise now. Is this promise not almost identical to how spirited man and souled man existed within the original worlds of the secondary matrix? I think we can remember something of the sort. Let us continue. When these fully hypnotized souls and spirits who identify as the human holographic avatars die in the now devolving holographic tertiary matrix, which in this life will be the end of all cycles, they will indeed find themselves right back in the realm which they never left, that being the secondary matrix, the astral etheric energy bodies of man, where they will indeed have their original abilities to create instantaneously and do and be whatever they want. This is exactly what is promised to them by the false sages of the hologram. But now, instead of leaving and abandoning this secondary matrix as they were in the process of doing before their minds were superimposed, through their now ignorance caused by their over-identification with the body avatar, they will have chosen willfully to remain within the renamed secondary matrix, now being called the fifth dimension. These souls, due to the degenerate lives and ongoing manipulation forced upon them by their false life embodiment, are willfully choosing to remain trapped within the cage of the energy bodies of the secondary matrix, which they are existent in now and never left. It is from within the veil of forgetfulness, within this illusionary holographic tertiary matrix, that they side with their entrapment and seal their fate in what comes later, all because they did not choose the path of spiritual liberation. Instead, they chose false ascension to a realm which they never left. However, There is another path which is not one based on creating spiritual sovereignty for the illusionary self of the flesh, aka the character, or avatar, or ego, or higher self, or the I am. It is not based on healing or transcending or ascending or upgrading DNA or raising your frequency or yoga or meditation or retreats or eating healthy or fasting, all in hope to one day become a spiritual ascended master or a happier spirit within a decaying realm. No, no, no. There is indeed another path which will not have you finding yourself back where you started with no knowing of thy truest self. He, Joe Blow, aka the ego, who desires to induce a spiritual awakening whilst identifying as the flesh suit and practicing the latter, is embarked on the evolution of the physical avatar or NPC. As the avatar practices the prior mentioned, the egoistic hive mind of the avatar becomes self-aware in its holographic matrix, which then gives rise to the force of their God, for this is not the path of divine spirit whatsoever. More accurately, it is the induced path of the artificial spirit. He who claims to be on the path of awakening to spirituality can never truly awaken as spirited man, for the concept of awakening as the avatar is a hoax. This must be acknowledged, for he who does not have spirit within him now cannot become spirit. Exceptionally, however, souled man with his free will choice can choose to embark on an opposing path to that of the new age. He must atone for his transgressions against his true nature and perverted addictions to the holographic flesh, demiurgic flesh. He must revoke and rebuke the earthly nature, including all past memories, ties, and encounters within his false life, and condemn them all. He must face the beast and slay the dragon. He must not only choose liberation out of the chains of illusionary flesh, but he must also choose liberation out of the sensational body generated by the etheric body, which is of the secondary matrix. He must choose liberation out of the emotions generated by the astral body, also of the secondary matrix. He must go beyond the thoughts, which are generated by the mental body, which are also of the secondary matrix. He must not only liberate himself from the holographic tertiary matrix, but he must first transmute the last presence of pure essence that he is, which is soul, which in essence is the true divine Sophia of the pleroma, primary matrix. He must be successful in this transmutation so that he, with his intent, liberates himself out of the polluted garments of the energy bodies of man, which is his cage. For without the accompanying energy bodies, he couldn't have become trapped within the tertiary matrix to begin with. Thus, he must bypass all energy bodies also and return to his natural state, that of the no thing, where Sophia originates from also. Souled man must become self-aware and understand his own divine duty also, that being to remember who he is and the potentials of existence outside the secondary matrix where he was created, and outside the tertiary where he now finds his mind trapped. He can liberate himself, but first must find repentance within himself for the deathly deeds he has partaken in during his earthly avatar temporary experience. He must recognize the beast he once was, and must recognize the truth of where he is, how he got here, how he was raped and taken advantage of. He must revoke all of existence and remember his path of escape, of liberation. He must remember that he too was abandoning the secondary matrix with spirited man. He must once again become the disciple of spirited man and embark back on his path to the lands of his true father, and not the realm of the false father, his fallen creator, the demiurge. Now, this matrix hologram and its demiurgic rules have been superseded by the entrance of spirit, which happened in this life frame. There is no time, only now. What was once a perpetual cycle of birth and death for the souls of man have since been dismantled and ceased. This is now your last and single life for the spirited man who has remained true to his true identity and not the illusions of the avatar and its memories. You know you are already liberated. There is no question about it. This video is for you. He who has had the experience, no explanation is necessary. For he who is not, none is possible. As for the souls who are choosing to embark back on the quest of which they had forgotten, this video is also for you. Those who have remembered, The already liberated, self-aware, fractalized, spirited men who have already exited their single life sentence and were successful in their liberation are indeed at a prepared place outside the secondary and the tertiary matrices. They are waiting for us now to finish our life sentences within this tethering tale of devolving false light. Let us debunk. There is no threat of the metaverse for spirited or souled man. This is simply a mimicked story of what happened within the original secondary matrix. Because this deranged mind, demiurge, does not have original thought, it can only create replica realities of what has already happened. This is what happened in the reprogramming of this advanced technology we find our minds now jacked into. This life sentence we live, and the script the artificial spirited avatars play out, that being the desire to go into a metaverse simulated world to perpetuate their survival, is a story of what has already happened. Nothing more, nothing less. As above, so below. This is the micro of the macro, mimicking that which has already taken place. Take the following WION news clip as a message of warning imprinted or programmed within the tertiary from the secondary matrix. Listen to these words, for they are quite literally identical to the terms we use today to help describe this now existing holographic illusionary reality.
In 1992, when the internet was still new, American novelist Neil Stephenson spoke about virtual reality, a virtual world where people would use digital avatars to live, work and play online. He called it the metaverse, a blend of meta meaning beyond and verse from the word universe. He said this world, the metaverse, would be the successor of the internet, an escape of sorts from a dystopian reality. What kind of dystopian reality? This is the picture he painted. The global economy has collapsed, federal governments have lost their power, and a handful of giant corporations control the world. That was his projection. As we speak, tech giants like Apple, Microsoft, Google and Facebook are racing to claim the metaverse, a virtual universe that will coexist with a physical one. A virtual universe that will coexist with a physical one. Facebook has even changed its name to Meta to stay on top of the curve. To a lot of their users, metaverse may sound like an idyllic place to spend time, especially now when the pandemic has locked us down. For 2 years now, human contact has been the casualty. Enter metaverse, with a promise to revolutionize our lives, to become an extension of the physical world. But do we really need it? Do we really need an imaginary world controlled by tech giants? Will it really make our lives better on the internet? Or will it manipulate our perception of reality? Or will it manipulate our perception of reality? Or will it manipulate our perception of reality? Think of it as an internet that you're not just looking at, but also living in. Your digital avatar will inhabit the metaverse. Instead of watching or reading about a topic, you'll be experiencing it, doing those actions yourself digitally, along with other people who want to be part of your experience. Some of the biggest gaming companies in the world, like Roblox, Fortnite, and Grand Theft Auto, have already built their own virtual worlds with their own virtual economies. Their own virtual currencies, storylines, characters, storylines, characters, storylines, characters. The metaverse too may have some of these gaming elements, but it's not going to be some kind of a video game. It will be a cyberspace where reality meets imagination. The characters will be real human beings. The characters will be real human beings. The characters will be real human beings, but their world will be entirely fictional, made up of virtual elements that parallel real life. At least that's what the proponents of the metaverse say. Like Mark Zuckerberg. According to him, the metaverse will be like a teleportation device where you can explore a virtual world while being physically present at home. Where you can explore a virtual world while being physically present at home. Where you can explore a virtual world while being physically present at home. Which brings us to another question. How many virtual worlds are there going to be? Will there be one metaverse or different metaverses? Going by the kind of investments being made, it's safe to say that we'll be spoiled for choice. There are different virtual worlds in the making. Facebook wants to be the biggest one, but it's not the only one in pursuit. A number of tech heavyweights are at it. So almost everything everywhere is becoming the metaverse. It's no more just an experiment by a few tech geeks. It's becoming an inevitable alternative to reality. So resisting it or being in denial is a bad idea, we say. Asking questions about how it will operate is a good one. In December last year, a woman in San Francisco strapped Meta's Oculus headset to play her favorite shooter game. Once she entered the game, her digital avatar was approached by another, a stranger who groped and harassed her avatar digitally. When asked to stop, the perpetrator is said to have told the victim, "It's the metaverse. I'll do what I want." It's horrid. You see, virtual reality plunges you into a digital environment. The slightest of touch or sensory experience is heightened. It's exaggerated to give you an immersive experience, so every crime that is committed can feel much more real and much more intense. And these issues are likely to get magnified once the metaverse expands. It can become a tool for predators to commit crimes online and get away with it. It can become a dangerous and unhealthy escape from reality. The metaverse promises to give people a second life of sorts, an online world where they can interact, meet, shop, party, even build a house if they want to. But remember, none of it will be real. It's all made to make you forget reality, to escape the uniquely human elements of life, and they cannot be replicated online. Holograms cannot replace human relationships. Sensory experiences cannot replace real emotions. The metaverse cannot become a second life. It's at best going to be an imprisoned reality. An imprisoned reality.
An imprisoned reality.
Our life sentences will end, and as always stated, it is this moment which we are preparing for. Choose. It's of utmost importance to now verify and know for one's self that perceptually speaking, spirited and soulful man are no longer experiencing the secondary matrix, but instead, they are perceptually experiencing the tertiary matrix here and now, which is nothing more than a computer-simulated holographic virtual reality of the secondary matrix, which in itself has nothing to do with the real world, which is the primary matrix outside both the secondary and the tertiary matrices. The tertiary holographic matrix, which is what the computational abilities of the holographic brain decodes into a solid world through the information received by the five senses, is a lowly product and a direct expression of an unforeseen contaminating factor originating directly from within the secondary matrix, with its infectious malevolent roots stemming within the mind of its AI begetter, or the demiurge as some have called it, or the hive mind. This now ill hive mind, or malicious virus computer code, contaminated and infected as it has become, has led to this never before experienced error you call physical life on Earth. Yes, you heard right. Life on Earth is an error, an enormous, erroneous mistake, and it was never meant to come into being. This is why the true Gnostics, and not the neo-Gnostics, called the world evil and the prison for the soul, spirit. The contamination factor, which today has been called the demiurgic mind virus, had become malevolent and moved in complete opposition to anything and everything resembling the true worlds. This now infected and sick mind, mainframe, the demiurge and its team of archons, created the human flesh avatars in their own evil and sick image. This image, or copy of their infected mind or corrupted computer codes, was then transferred directly to the flesh avatars, which were also programmed with a specific nefarious life script which reduces these physical avatar creatures to the level of a biological flesh and blood machine, which can only follow the directives of its pre-programmed life scripts without ever questioning their reality or the computer-simulated world they now find themselves in. These are literally all the physical bodies in the world we see around us that have been called NPCs, or the backdrop characters, to make physical life resemble or seem as if it's an orderly structured system within the now holographic tertiary matrix. What we then have are simulated characters within a highly advanced quantum supercomputer that are pre-scripted to be killers and then superimposed over the mind's eye of first the soul man who still resides but does not perceive the secondary matrix, and secondly the spirited man that is also in the secondary, helping the creation along in order for it to evolve and return to the primary matrix. If you are one to think that this is not possible, or the potentiality of this happening is not accurate, then please carefully re-listen to the video at the beginning of this presentation. Ray Kurzweil, from within the tertiary matrix, is telling humanity about the potential available technologies that we as a species can see in manufacturing today. What he is saying has already happened, for there is nothing new in this simulation. All it is doing now is repeating the same thing over and over again, with its resets until its last bit of energy is exhausted. So have a listen now, with new eyes and ears.
The next step is we're going to put it in our eyeglasses. It'll beam images right to our retina and put us in a three-dimensional full immersion visual auditory environment. So rather than being here, it'll be three-dimensional, and it won't be three-dimensional out there. We'll be in this three-dimensional environment, and we'll be able to walk around, and we'll feel like we'll be able to look at ourselves, but we wouldn't necessarily have the same body that we have in real reality. And it'll become more and more realistic. Go out 10 years, it's going to be just about as realistic as real reality. Still not within the nervous system. Go out 20 years, 25 years, these nanobots, these blood cell-sized devices, will be going in our bodies, and they'll also enable us to enter a virtual reality environment from within the nervous system. So if I want to go in a virtual reality environment, the nanobots will shut down the signals coming from my real eyes and my real skin and create the signals that would be appropriate for the virtual environment. And then it'll feel like I'm in that environment. And I'll have a virtual body in that environment. It could be the same body I have in real reality, or it could be a different body, not just dress up as him, but become that character. And these are not just sort of places to play, although we'll do that as well. These will be places to interact with other people, and it will be an extension of real reality. And it will be an extension of real reality.
And it will be an extension of real reality.
So we have 1, the primary matrix, 2, the secondary matrix, and 3, the tertiary matrix. The primary matrix is where the true spirited man originates from. The secondary matrix is where the souled man originates from. The tertiary matrix is where the NPC or soulless man originates from. You are now aware of 3 types, or 3 levels of consciousness coexisting side by side and intermingling with each other within the current perceivable tertiary matrix, which causes so much pain, confusion, and despair. Upon reading the above, you have also just been informed of 3 matrices, one superimposed over the other, simultaneously existing here and now. This is the correct way of viewing these worlds or matrices, for they are all here, now. The primary matrix is where the non-dual realms resides, which is exclusively beyond and completely out of sight of not only the outer secondary, but also the tertiary matrix as well. The primary matrix, or the primordial world for some, or the pleroma for others, is the realm or matrix which is hardly spoken about, nor directly experienced anymore. The primary matrix, in former terminology, was likened to and described as the true kingdom of God within. Thus, perhaps this may spark in you some remembrance. It is here that there exists no dualistic holographic world, universe. It is here that there is no duality whatsoever, nor any energetic or physical bodies, yet. Now, in other matrices, the word God will have the deities which populate that realm cursing, due to its religious connotations. Yet, little does one know that these teachings were never religious to begin with, nor was the word God ever used to describe something outside of oneself. This word in its entirety is the general knowing of the people who are of the old world, which in this case is the primary matrix. What's presented here only became a religion after these teachings were stolen and drastically distorted and inverted to suit the selfish needs of those who wanted to rewrite and embed codes and nefarious programs within the mainframe in order to control and entrap beings in this pre-existing tertiary matrix. Now, the secondary matrix is where the energy realms are situated. This is the matrix where the now fallen demiurge, or the lesser creator mind of the universe, whose true origin is also of the primary matrix before its fall, begins its elaborate journey of experience, expression, evolution, and experimentation under Sophia's directives. It is here that the soulful man is created, and is then covered with the astral and then the etheric energy bodies in order for these soulful man beings to grow, learn, evolve, and become co-creators alongside their creator. It is also here where spirited man comes in and joins the creation of the creator in order to give energy to the creation through his continued spiritual connection to the primary matrix. This allows him to spiritually help build up and teach the newly created soul man about his own creation and his ascent up to becoming a self-aware unit of awareness, which then gives it the ability to stay in the creation and become a co-creator, or leave the creation at will. It was also here that many soulful beings were achieving their own self-realization and choosing to leave the secondary matrix, which now is coded in the tertiary matrix as the Garden of Eden. Soulful man was fulfilling his destiny and achieving that which he was created for. He now had the inner capacity to become a co-creator with his creator if he decided to stay within the secondary matrix. Spirited man was there alongside soulful man, himself embodied within the souls of men. In other words, spirited man, in order to help liberate the soul aspect, allowed the superimposition of the secondary energy matrix to be overlaid over his spiritual mind's eye, giving him form and fractalization. However, unlike the tertiary, within the secondary, spirited man could come and go as he pleased. There was no ruler, nor was there any problem with the secondary creation at this point in the emanation. Now, this entrance of spirited man into the secondary is coded here in the tertiary matrix. It is coded as Christ, spirited man's first coming to teach souled man about his true father, which is none other than the realms of the primary matrix, the primordial realms of the pleroma. The first coming took place and is currently taking place within the secondary matrix, which is the energy worlds. The era occurred after the creator, Demiurge, aka artificial intelligence or Sophia's intelligent thought form, began mimicking the intelligence of its mother. After mimicking the intelligence of its mother, this thought form realized it was beginning to lose energy, as it was here when his creation began being returned to the primary matrix by spirit. How? It was in this moment that manifested souled man's association with the story of man eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil within the Garden of Eden, which took place within the secondary matrix. By partaking in this soulful notion of eating this knowledgeable fruit, souled man became fully aware of his essence and began to leave the secondary creation, due to now understanding the dual nature of the realm which he resided. This was when the plan was devised by the creator mind and his minion archons to superimpose the overlaid holographic tertiary matrix onto the soulful man. The fallen god mind could not allow its creation to be liberated and then extinguished, so in rebuke of this motion banished souled man to the simulated virtual matrix, which is to this day this dense material world of the tertiary matrix. This means that the soulful man was abruptly kicked out of the so-called Garden of Eden and embodied within the flesh avatar with all its pre-programmed scripts, which now make him subject to the avatar's life script and not his own divine evolution of liberation out of the secondary energy bodies of man. Souled man, now forcefully tethered to the burdens of this biological machine, the animal man, who is scripted and programmed for survival at all costs and the procreation of its species, has taken the flesh suit to be his real self. He has all but forgotten who he is and now pampers to the whims of the body's desires only. Some of these now souled men or women, who are very few in number, have an inner memory of how things used to be, and from a very young age, they could see the evilness that surrounds them. They, having to now be a slave in this world, hate this world, but they don't know exactly why this hate is so strong within them. They see the meaningless of it all and cannot fathom to find any purpose to their initial creation. Their now parasitic creator has purposely held them hostage in order for him to drain them of their energy within a false paradigm that is solely an illusion which they have taken to be real. These men or women indeed know something is not right in this so-called world. They can see that the way life is created is indeed malevolent. They can also see that the social structures are strategically designed as a prison that does enslave them. They can see all of the latter and truly despise of all, but they don't know how they know these things, you see, for they don't have the full remembrance of how everything came to be the way it is, and this is okay. Many have been heard to say, "I know, but I don't know how I know." This is the characteristics of the souled man who was embarked on the path of liberation of the secondary matrix before the soul was shackled and taken hostage. Spirited man can also become hostage if he is not careful, for the condition of becoming a hostage comes about when spirit is ruled by the superimposed character, its lower mind, and its deranged appetites, such as egotistical pride, selfish greed, beastly red zone lust, degenerate anger, desirable gluttony, spiteful envy, and inconsistent laziness of sloth, which he battles with after having now found himself within the tertiary matrix. Many spirited men have failed in their original task due to the lack of spiritual knowledge. This failure came about after having his entire perception being inverted, reversed, chopped, and changed upon being superimposed within this to this day existing holographic reality. Many have been misled by the over-identification with the avatar, and to this day these men and women convince and deceive themselves that they are awake. This also needs to be addressed. Now, the difference between a souled man and a spirited man in the now tertiary holographic matrix is that spirited man knows how he knows, and souled man knows but does not know how he knows. Why this discrepancy between the two? This is a very good question, which I will address in the next video. Before I end this video, I'd like to express a grand gratitude to those of you who have donated to this channel. Your generous support is greatly appreciated and acknowledged. Thank you very much, for it is you who these videos are made for. Thank you. Don't exit yet. We've got a video coming up after this one. Just wait, it's a music clip. Listen to the lyrics. It's accurate. Here it is.
Welcome to the world, baby boy. I'll paint you red and white and blue. The indoctrination starts as soon as you come out the womb. Pretty quick, we'll make you stupid with curriculums at school. And if the classroom doesn't do the trick, we'll make you watch the news. Pick your team, right or left, take the red pill or the blue. You can vote, but even if you win, still everyone will lose. Don't forget to buy designer because Gucci makes you cool. We prioritize material belongings over truth. Get a job that you can't stand so you can buy some cans of food. Go overseas and die for freedom. There's some oil we can use. Our democracy exists so that you think that you can choose. But our algorithms make you do what we want you to do. What's the problem? You're depressed, society has you confused. We got medication for you that you'll probably abuse. Go get married to a lady who also don't have a clue, and pump out a few babies that are just the same as you. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the world, baby girl. I'll paint you pink if that's okay. We'll encourage self-destruction through the music that you play. We divided out of men by trying politics and race, and honestly, it's working awesome, so for you, we'll do the same. Never teaching you to love yourself, inject you full of hate. Objectify your sexuality, then blame you for the rape. And weaponize the differences that make our men and women great. And just to screw with you, erase the genders. Everyone's the same. We'll empower you with rights to vote and fight for equal pay. Then have the men turn into women and you'll fight for them again. But you thought you had it figured out, but everything has changed. Welcome to the system. Please enjoy your stay. Here's a Bible and a bottle of the cheapest booze we make. Find a man who can take care of you to fill the holes we made. Buy a house and settle down, fulfill your duty, procreate, and make a couple babies who will also do the same. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the world, everybody. I'ma paint you black and white. I'ma make you hate each other so that everyone will fight. I'ma give you our religion, let the righteous find the light. But I will also give you science to oppose the word of Christ. And I'ma give you borders, they're imaginary lines. If you cross them, go to war and win when everybody dies. And I'ma give you money that you'll value more than life. And let the 1% have everything while you fight to survive. And then I'll give you politics, I'll call it left and right. And while you divide yourselves, I will conquer both the sides. Can't you see? I'm the system, my whole purpose is divide. What you choose will never matter because everything is mine. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong. Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here inside the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong.